I think a lot of girls feel behind that whole thing of I want to have a career first and then I want to find someone, or I have this amazing career and all I want is a husband. But ultimately, it's God's timing. God has shown me that time and time again in my life, like his timing is perfect. As I've gone into these country spaces and these rooms with people, I'm like, that's what I keep reminding myself of, just like God has something amazing for me and it's his best. And I'm not going to settle for anything less than that. I don't want this to come across like as mean or anything, but
welcome to the Dear Future Husband podcast. I'm your host, Christian Bevere, and I'm thrilled today to bring a fresh perspective and something that I know a lot of you single women watching are going to resonate with. And I'm bringing on another musician. We had Mia Fields recently, and I just think musicians are poetic and they know how to say things so beautifully. So why not have them on the podcast? Today, we're going to have Ann Wilson. Hi. You are a Grammy-nominated or Grammy-winning singer, nominated, songwriter. I feel like you're doing so many things. You just wrote a book. And so obviously you have a way with words. So thank you for coming on today and encouraging our audience.
Thank you. I was telling her earlier, I watched this podcast personally. The one with Mia Fields, actually sent it to my Bible study group chat. And we're like all the girls sitting crying emojis. And that's been a really inspirational podcast for us in the last few weeks.
I love that.
There's some things that me and my friends have been going through. So, yeah.
And this is a group of single women, right? That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
I feel like everyone needs some of those because singleness, I mean, every season you need your people, but singleness, that isolation factor can just weave so many lies. And, you know, I'd love for you to even open up about like, how did that group start? Why do you feel like that's been powerful in all of your lives?
Yeah, well, I'm 23 and a lot of my friends are in that like early 20s age group. And so a lot of us have walked through just singleness, you know, in different seasons of our lives over the last few years. And so last spring, 2024, I was sitting in my kitchen and was going through like the loneliness side of it, you know, that can kind of come in waves. And I was like, I felt like God just kind of put on my heart. I was looking around and I was like, I have a house. I have a big space for people to come. I'm just going to open up my home and I just want to see what happens. So I texted my counselor and she sent me some girls that she had in mind that had kind of come through. And I specifically said, send me girls that are struggling with being single or that are dating, but still aren't like sure if they're going to marry that person or not. And let's do this book on praying for that man. It was what the book was called. And so it's even for people that are about to be engaged. It can kind of go in like all different directions, but we sat down and we started meeting once every couple weeks and doing this book together last summer. And it was amazing. Every girl in the Bible study broke up with their boyfriend through the Bible study, which was kind of like a testament to just what it was saying. And like, it was convicting and it was making, I think, a lot of them realize like what they didn't have in that person that they thought they did, you know, or that person really is not God's best for me. And so then that kind of launched us into just starting a more like generic Bible study. We're actually doing the book Captivating by John and Stacy Eldridge. Have you read that?
I've heard so many good things. I've read snippets of it.
Yeah. So we're doing that right now. And I think just having a group of girls that are in the same season of life with you helps a lot with singleness.
Yeah. Well, I love that you are diving into, because I believe that book goes into like femininity and then faith. And then so having those two as like foundations rather than, hey girls, let's get together and, you know, go to Broadway and see if we can find a man. You're like, how can we deep root this? So when we do, it's not just like a Band-Aid. I think that's so beautiful, and love that you did have that moment of, okay, what can I do with where I'm at right now and what I have right now? I have a house. I have people around me. Let's gather. I absolutely love that. So I feel like I skimmed over some of just who you are in the background, which I love to go deep. So I always have to like bring myself up to the surface a little bit. But you've written just beautiful songs such as My Jesus, Hey Girl. We'll talk more on that later. I know you're seeing the books if you're watching on YouTube. But you've just had these accolades in this career, especially young, Grand Ole Opry, Grammys. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Because for people that don't know your story, I was just fascinated reading up today that, you know, relationships and career can be birthed out of moments of unexpectedness. And I believe that's true with your story, with how you got started with music. Can you tell people
for sure.
a little bit of that?
Started in 2017 with a tragedy. My brother passed away in a car accident when he was 23. and I was 15 at the time. And it was Jacob, my sister Elizabeth, and me. So in that order, I was the youngest of the three, and always a very close-knit family. Grew up in Kentucky in Lexington, and had a really sweet childhood. My parents raised me in the church and knew my identity in Christ. Became a Christian when I was 12, and then he passed when I was 15. And when you go through things like that, it really changes who you are from the inside out. I mean, it's just like a whole perspective shift, and it just makes you realize what's important in life and what matters. And for me, it was my relationship with God. I remember having this moment of like realizing I want to spend however long I have left on this earth glorifying God and following his will for my life. And that kind of led into music. Surprisingly, I sang at my brother's funeral for the first time in front of anyone.
In front of anyone?
In front of anyone, even my parents. Yeah.
Wow.
Music was not something that I actually wanted to be an astronaut. I wanted to work for NASA. I wanted
just a little different.
Yeah, I know. I loved science and math, and I wanted to go in that direction. And so that was my plan. And then, everything happened with Jacob passing, and it was this kind of exchanging of dreams. Like I laid down what my dream was, and instead it was like, God, show me what your dream for my life is. And that ended up being music. So I was discovered on YouTube, and then that led into 2018, and I was discovered by a Christian record label in Nashville. So I ended up signing a record deal when I was 17.
Wow. So how did you get to post the video on YouTube, going from the first time you're singing, were they just like, Anne, this is amazing, you have to share this? And you're like, no, I can't.
Yeah. So we did like a cover video of or a cover of the song that we did at the funeral. And we did it because friends and family were asking for kind of like something to look back on in that time. Like you'll want to look back on this one day, when you have a family, and look back on when you did this for your brother. So I just thought, okay, well, that's great. We'll just do that. And that'll be that. I didn't know that it would go viral on YouTube and that I would be discovered through that. And sure enough, God had a plan in that. So I signed a deal at 17 and moved to Nashville when I was 18. And graduated high school that year in 2020, and then put out My Jesus was the first song I released the following year when I was 19. And then from then on, it's just been a whirlwind, traveling the country for 4.5 years, just about to put out my third album, and just kind of living in God's design for my life. And it's something very different than I thought I was going to do. I had all these plans and dreams, and thought I'd be married with kids by now, or like being an astronaut, or whatever I was going to do with my life. And like, God's like, no, you're going to do music, and I'm going to move you to Nashville and do something that I really never thought I would do. But like, now I love it. And I'm like living in God's dream for me, if that makes sense. Like, and I can't imagine doing anything but music now. And so it's cool to see God write a story in your life that's like different than you thought it would be.
That must be why the new album's called Stars, because you wanted to be an astronaut. You gotta like weave it back. Reflecting. That's so amazing that you find yourself probably like discovering purpose as you walk it out. And sometimes I think that's the most beautiful thing. And even putting dating advice out there, I'm like, I don't want to tell too much, because there's something about discovering as you go and God leads you.
For sure.
I'm sure some people already at some point when you said you're 23, you're like, what does she know about being single and longing? But it seems like your whole life has been jump-started early. And so you've been walking in career and being your own person even earlier. And so I just want to test to that. If you're also young watching and thinking, wow, I can relate to someone that has this longing too, or even find yourself in that camp of like, oh, well, try being this age. There's just something within us that no matter what age we are, no matter what stage, like when you have that desire and you fulfill it the right way, I think God can move through that.
For sure.
And I know a lot of women will even ask, maybe I'm still single because I'm not successful enough, or I'm not pretty enough. Can you just speak to that lie, encourage the women? Because I know we all go through our own what ifs and when will this happen? Yeah,
for sure. I think my story has been really interesting. I feel like most of the people in my life are married first and then have their career, or at least that's what I've seen, And so when I came into the music industry at 19, I wasn't thinking about that. And then as I'm getting into it, I started to I'm surrounded by people way older than me in the industry. I'm like so young. And so everyone around me that works with me, they're all older and married with kids. And so I think it was like me coming home and not having anyone at the house and like learning how to just cope with that. Even though I'm only 22, 23, 21, you know, like over the last few years, I'm around that so much. And it was hard for me to like get over that and just sit in like the fact that I'm in God's plan right now where he has me. But I think that for me, it's been the opposite. Like I've had a career first.
Yeah.
And like God gave me a career at such a young age and entrusted me with like this platform at 19 before I've had a marriage or kids. And so it's like almost the reverse for like a lot of my friends. They're married and then like now they're starting their jobs or now they're living in their dream career. But I think that this whole journey has really just taught me like God's timing is best and it's perfect. And whenever things happen, it's going to be in his timing.
Yeah.
And so I think I've seen the opposite end of that of just career first before having the biggest dream in my life fulfilled, which is to be a mom and a wife. I've had a career first. And so, but I think it's a beautiful thing because it's God's timing, and being able to be so young and inspiring young girls is also really sweet. Because I think about when I was in middle school and high school, there were girls that I looked up to, like Lauren Daigle being one of them, and her music. And to think that I can be that for young girls now, it's like, okay, God, this makes sense why you had it this way and why you've planned it this way and why music was first and career was first before any of that came. But it is such a lie from the enemy. Like, I think a lot of girls feel behind, you know, or they feel like some of my friends feel like that whole thing of I want to have a career first and then I want to find someone, or I have this amazing career and all I want is a husband. I think there's a place for both of that, and you can kind of hold those two at the same time. But ultimately, it's God's timing. I mean, God has shown me that time and time again in my life, like his timing is perfect.
So good. What have you found either with the group that you meet with or with those young girls you get to encourage at concerts or at your Hey Girl meetups? What have you found to be the thing that women need the most advice in right now, especially the younger women?
I mean, and I don't want this to come across like as mean or anything, but I do think the world like of men right now is really tough. I literally told my mom, I was like, there needs to be a man that just like does like a revival for men. Like it needs this like next generation of young men in like loving Jesus, because I feel like that's all I hear from friends or young girls. Like their hearts are in the right place. They're seeking God, and there's just like no guys out there that are like doing the same. And that's how they feel. And so I think, I just think it's like, I really do believe that the Lord is doing that though in Gen Z right now. Our generation is, I saw a stat the other day. It's like we're like the most numbers in our generation in like the history of coming back to Jesus, coming back to church, and coming back to know God. And so that's really encouraging to hear. But I do feel like that's the biggest thing. Just like I can't find people that are walking with the Lord the way that I am, or just that lie of like I'm behind. I feel like so many girls have told me that I'm behind in the timeline of what it should be. And numbers now, it's like a lot of people are getting older, like, or getting married a lot older in their life than years past. And so I think a lot of my friends that are in their later 20s, early 30s even are saying like, I just feel behind. I feel like I'm behind and I should be way further on in this area of my life. And again, that can be so hard because it's like, you want to trust God, but then sometimes you just want to take it into your own hands and just go find someone, you know? But it really is so important to live in like just the surrendered place of like God has a plan in it. So
yeah. Well, also, I think a lot of people are getting married younger because they're scared to admit, I do want to be married, or they like teeter-totter with it. And again, like you said, it could be career first, marriage later, but even just that admitting, yes, this is the desire of my heart. That's why I love this community, because I'm like, pray for it, whether it happens next month or it happens in 5 years. It's like, I know that I'm longing for that. And so I want that desire to be placed in prayer, to be placed in faith. And so, you know, not that it's wrong to get married later, to have kids later, but I think a lot of, whether it's the men or the women, sounds like maybe it is more men for the guys watching. Let's fix that.
Yes,
but just saying like, okay, I want a career, but I also want to be married, and I'm not going to be afraid to go into dating with that mindset. Like the people that are dating for 2 years and then we'll start talking about marriage. I'm like, why? I know. I feel like that's just wasting your time. So I feel like maybe you you girls that are meeting are like,
Yeah.
no, we know what we want. We know what we're going to stand for.
We do.
We're not going to waste our time.
Yeah.
We're going to spend our single season enjoying it rather than stressing about it.
For sure. And that's taken a while to get to, I would say literally through watching your podcast, like, no, I'm not just saying this, in the last 6 months has been the first time I've been able to go, okay, I'm going to sit in this and delight in it. Oh, wow. And I'm just going to like, and also you did one with John that is like him talking about surrendering your free will and like giving God your free will and saying, God, I want your will. And since I've done that, I've seen God move in so many ways. Wow. Of just like, I'm going to trust that your timing is perfect and I'm going to stop stressing and worrying about it. And I'm a planner and I'm a type A person. Same. And so for me, it's so hard to like, I'm like I like do these timelines in my head and then I'm like, I just have to surrender it to God and like let him write the story for me.
So you go write a book while he's writing your love story. Go write another album. I think that's a good strategy. I know that episode was so good. If you haven't seen it, I would suggest going to watch it because I was taking mental notes even though I'm married. I was like, that's really good. Good. I'm curious. You have been, yes, around a lot of married people, but probably also a lot of single, successful men too. We're talking about not settling. You went on tour with Morgan. Is it Morgan Wallen?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I hear Waylon Wallen with Morgan Wallen. So I'm sure there's young men in the audience backstage. What do you do in those times when it is tempting to be like, oh, maybe someone is around or they're showing me attention or they think they know me, but they don't? How do you stay grounded? Yeah,
I think that's really hard with my career because I think people think they know me on socials, but they don't at all. And I think with any type of spotlight, even like with a podcast like this, like people can assume they know the person, but they don't. And so, but honestly, like I feel like through my family and like the way I was raised, like I just have standards that I don't lower for people. And like even just like through meeting people here and there, like I'm just always really protective about like not allowing myself to go like to date someone that doesn't, that I don't feel like I could trust fully or that is like only wants to date me because I'm Ann Wilson, the singer, Yeah. And so that's something that I've really had to be intentional about praying through, like God giving me peace, and making sure that this person's not there for just my fame, and that can be hard. But I do think like the people I've surrounded myself with, my family, my friends are really, they just help keep me grounded in that of like just watching out for me and reminding me to never lower your standards. And I also think like, I'm mentioning your podcast so much, but like the episode with Mia and like how she talks about like just like God's not going to like halfway do your love story, like especially because marriage is like the person you're supposed to build your life with and lead you closer to God. And like marriage is a representation of Christ in the church. And so God's not going to halfway do it in that area of your life. And I think that helped me in that perspective of like, I'm not going to just have to like figure this out myself. And like try and make a guy better or like go on a date with a guy and he's like red flags everywhere and then I'm going to have to like fix him. Like that's not God's best for me. And so I think that was really encouraging too. And as I've gone into these country spaces and these rooms with people, I'm like, that's what I keep reminding myself of, just like God has something amazing for me and it's his best. And I'm not going to settle for anything less than that. So yeah.
What would you say boundaries are for other like young professional single women of feeling like you are still able to go write a song with a company or, be in the spaces you need to, but like, this is my maybe mental or emotional boundary or actually like a physical boundary?
Yeah. I feel like for me, it's going into these, most of the people I work with, are married with kids and some of my best friends. And I feel like, but going into rooms, like I think just knowing like, it takes a while to get to know someone and it takes a while to get to like, make sure you can trust that person. So for me, I'm always just guarded with things, especially around people, like whether I'm going into these industry rooms or places that are unknown, just like I'm going to guard my heart and like not allow this person in until I know that this could be someone to spend my life with. Or just like in general, like you said, just being around people, just like keeping my heart guarded from the potential of like something that could go the wrong way, And I think there's a way to like, the like last couple months, God's been teaching me a lot about guarding my heart, but still being able to love people, but it being guarded and like not letting that guard down and like until it's time to. And so I think that goes for even like friendships too, and like different relationships in my life of I'm going to love you, but I'm also not going to like invest everything into you until I know that you're, this person or like that you're a trustworthy friend or that you're going to be in my life for a good amount of time, or you're not going to, like, I think wrestling with those thoughts, like, and just like keeping my heart guarded the last couple of months has been like what God's been teaching me.
Yeah, that's so good. I mean, it's definitely guard your heart. It's biblical advice. And I love that. I'm here, you're saying not just put up a wall to people, like you still need to love them. So like maybe it's a short little hedge.
Yeah.
You can still see over it. People can cross, but you're smart with how you honor your mind, your body, and your heart. Now, we don't do music tours. It would be really cool if we were all musically gifted, because a family as big as ours, it could have been like, it could be a thing, but we're not gifted in that way, which is fine. We do trips for like ministry stops, and we'll have, most of the time it's go, 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 as I'm sure it is for you. Sometimes we'll stop and, get beignets in Louisiana, though my family doesn't really eat sugar. So, don't know if we fully eat them, but we have fun moments like that. Do you have a most fun memory being on tour and traveling over the last year or two?
Oh, there's so many. We travel pretty much every week on average. Wow. So, I love out west, love California, love Colorado, love getting to be in those places, just like with God's beauty of like nature. I love being outside. And so we actually just went to Montana in August. And so that was a really fun trip to be able to just go and be out there. But honestly, my favorite part of touring is getting to connect with fans, getting to hear their stories, specifically around a song I have called Hey Girl. There will be little girls that will come up to me at meet and greets, like crying their eyes out and just saying like, I'm bullied in school, or I had suicidal thoughts, or I've struggled with my worth. And your song, Hey Girl, is a reminder of my identity in Jesus. And like those types of interactions are what keeps me going, like what inspires me, what encourages me to say, I want to keep writing songs for these girls and keep loving on them. And so I'd say like my favorite part of touring, and just in the last year and a half, like as my fan base has grown, it's been seeing those little girls come to these shows and being so inspired and encouraged. It's really
so sweet.
Yeah.
Have you had anyone like copy an outfit or
yes,
anything?
They come dressed up like me all the time.
Sweet.
It is so cute. And they're like as young as 2 and 3 years old.
Cute.
And then all the way up until like college. So
like cowgirl boots,
sweet.
Pigtails, some of them. That's adorable.
Little dresses.
Well, I may have to bring my daughter to one of your shows.
Oh my gosh,
she's not standing yet, but as soon as she is, we will get her some cowgirl boots. I want to know, how do you said you're coming into those worlds and that your music's expanding. How do you blend faith music with this country music, or scene that you're in a way that feels like authentic to the creator in you? Yeah. But also not like a watered down. Does that make sense? It might be like a little poignant of a question, but that's just
I've always been raised to be bold. Like my mom is like, you met her, you'd be like, yes, she is bold. Like she believes what she says she believes, and she walks out what she believes. And growing up in that house, like I learned a lot about just standing for the things you believe in. And so I'm very bold in my faith. And then when I was saved, then my music career starts, all these things happen. Like I just love like standing in God's word and his truth. And I think in a culture today where a lot is watered down, or you have people kind of like no one's like actually hitting on like, this is the gospel, this is the truth. And you have like the whole kindness movement, or people just wanting to be kind and loving, but like not saying what the actual Bible says. It inspired me to really just be bold in that. So I wrote an album I put out last year called Rebel, which was my debut country album. I had an album before that was Christian called My Jesus. And then this is my second album called Rebel. And that album was like the like catalyst of this movement of like what it means to stand firm in your faith. But also like I love country music. And so we blended the sound of country with the heart of the gospel. So every song on that last album is like all about Jesus, but also like all about my roots and like being a girl from Kentucky and loving country music and like having that passion for that. So I just think it's been cool to see like God almost giving me like a courage to go and spread the gospel. Like when we opened for Morgan Wallen, we were in stadiums, which is 65,000 plus people. And he's country, not Christian. He does country music. And so to be able to stand up on that stage and preach the gospel, so nerve-wracking and so terrifying, but like just God giving me the strength I needed to do that was so powerful. And like the courage to say, I'm calling you to do this. And there was a moment last year, I audibly heard God's voice say, I'm calling you like to go take the gospel to the world. Like, I want you to go do that. And that means leaving the church, and that means leaving Christian music, going out and into the world and spreading the gospel. So I try to do that through my music as much as I can. And it's been so cool to see like just these opportunities I've gotten in the mainstream world and country, but still like being exactly who I am if I was playing at a church or a Christian show and taking the gospel to these people. So it's been something that's like naturally come to me because I grew up on Christian and country music and I love both of them, but I didn't want to water down my faith to fit country. And I didn't want to water down my love for country music to fit Christian either. So I just kind of made my own path and was like, we're going to do this and put out Rebel. And,
a little bit of that, a little bit of this.
Yeah.
Which I feel like country music used to be a little bit more Christian rooted.
Yeah.
Or I won't say it's pop-ish today, but there is just more narratives, whether it's dating, whether it's music, that it's like, okay, well, let's get back to the root of why do I love country music? Is it about the sound? Is it about, the feel? And so just weeding through, whether it's the country music, whether it's the dating, whether it's whatever it is, weeding back to the heart of it. So my last question, I want to know, when Mr. Right does come knocking on your door, in your mailbox, whatever it's going to be, what's going to make him stick out to you? Because I hear you say you're not going to water down your person of morals. Is he, do you envision he's going to be walking in the same career as you, something different? Or is it like, I'm not even looking for that. I'm looking for this, this, and this.
I feel like my life has been such a series of like just God showing, like just giving things to me and like being like, this is what you're going to do. And so I think like I've been so open-minded with just like what God has for me in that person. And like, so, there's like things I pray for, like character things and like their relationship with Christ and the depth of that and who they are. But I feel like career path has just been like, okay, Lord, whatever you want for my life, is what it's going to be. And I feel like I think the biggest thing for me is going to be peace that passes all understanding. And I like, since starting my career, God has just spoken to me in peace. Like he's given me a feeling of peace. The second I drove into Nashville for the first time when I was 17 or 16, actually, I felt a peace of just like, this is going to be where I live. This is going to be my home. And then My Jesus was written and I had a peace about putting that song out. And then since then, like God will give me these feelings of just peace and like you are where you're supposed to be. And so I feel like that'll be the thing that sets it apart. At least I feel like in the past, that's how God speaks to me. That I feel like will set that apart and he'll be showing me like, this is your person. So,
well, that's so exciting.
I know.
And I love that I know people are probably, I'm backtracking here, but hearing, oh wait, he spoke audibly to Anne. Like I want that. But I feel like when we trust and we listen and obey, when he speaks, he just continues to speak. And it's like, oh, I will be able to trust him when the right guy comes because I've been listening to his voice. So I love that you've been doing that in your career and your lifestyle and in your praying for your future husband, which we're big fans of here. But for people that are soon to be fans of you that might not have connected with you yet, I want to link to all the exciting things because this is a big month for you.
Yes. We have this new 40-day devotional that we just put out. I love devotionals. Like I feel like they help me with just like the daily like reminders, or encouragement. And so this one we just put out, it's a 40-day devotional for teens. And it goes, there's some dating stuff in here for sure.
Amazing.
Red flags and different things, but it goes into just identity. I think a lot of like what will root you and who you are before you find your person, before God brings them to you, is your identity in him, knowing that your worth is in him first before it's in a guy. And for me and my friends struggled with that of just like, I'm going to be confident in who God made me to be. And I'm going to be like secure in my identity in him before I'm going to go get into a relationship so that, no matter what happens with the relationship, you're still rooted in Christ. And so this devotional is a reminder of just who God makes girls to be. And a reminder of that. And then I have an album coming out October 17th called Stars that I'm really excited about, a 12-song record. And then, social media is Ann Wilson Music, or my website is annwilsonofficial.com. We're actually playing I was going to say you should come to my Nashville show at the Pinnacle.
I think it's on my husband's
17th.
birthday.
Oh, okay. Oh, no.
Oh, wait, it's the 17th?
Or wait, no, the 18th.
The 18th. Yeah. It's my husband's birthday.
Yeah.
But we'll find a way.
Have a great little celebration.
Yeah, it'll be good. I feel like I dragged him to his first concert. I think he liked it more than he let on, but it's just not his go-to. So we'll see. I'll work on him over the next 2 weeks. And if he's good, then we'll just show up. But that's so exciting. We're playing at the Pinnacle, and then we're going on tour as well. Amazing.
Playing 9 shows over the next couple months.
What cities or states?
Grand Rapids, Michigan, Detroit, Michigan, Greensboro, South Carolina, Nashville, a couple others I can't remember. So,
Well,
excited.
check it out on Anne's website. I'm sure she'd love to see you there. If you do the pigtails and the boots, and it might be extra fun to interact with. But Anne, thank you so much for sharing your heart and these resources and encouraging our community. And if you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed. And we will see you next Thursday on the Dear Future Husband podcast.